Today, we're going to do a tag team review of this homage to the Serica 5303 by Tandorio. That's right, I said tag team review. I'm very excited to be joined by my friend Harvind from Wrist Watching. We're going to be breaking this review up into 4 categories, and in this video, I'm going to review 2 of those 4 categories, while Harvind reviews the other 2 categories. 2 different opinions of the same watch. And we're going to be scoring the categories as we go along. Now make sure to stick around to the end of the video, and we're going to summarize our thoughts and give an overall collective score. But that's not all, because right after this, you can jump over to Harvind's channel and watch the other video where we switch everything around. And we review the parts in that video which the person covered in this video. Now, I'll leave a link to the watch and more importantly to Harvind's channel in the description below. Please make sure to check out his channel. This Tandorio driver might be the cheapest homage to the Serica 5303, coming in at around just $72 US. With some store discounts and AliExpress coins, you may be even to get it cheaper than that. In fact, I got mine for a mere $64 US. But of course, low price means absolutely nothing if that's all you're getting, a low price. So Harvind and I are going to jump in and take a closer look at this. The case construction here is 316L stainless steel, with a diameter coming in at 40 millimeters, a lug-to-lug distance of 48 millimeters, and an overall thickness of 13.7. Now that means it wears extremely well on a 7-inch wrist. All of those dimensions line up with exactly what was listed on the website, as you would expect. But what you might not expect is that all of those dimensions are between 1 to 1.5 millimeters larger than the original watch. Now the case shape here appears to be the same as on the Serica, and for the finishing, I have to admit it is very nicely done. I don't expect a lot from a $7 watch, but the brushing is nicely uniformed. There are no sharp edges on the top or the bottom of the case. And I have to admit, I'm rather surprised by that. The bottom of the case is one area that manufacturers tend to cut corners to save money, but not here. Now, it is not quite as smooth as the top of the case, but in my opinion, it is perfectly acceptable. And I have felt sharper case bottoms on watches from major brands. The finishing is mostly brushed except for this chamfered edge on the lugs, which has a high polished finish to it. And that follows the watch that this is homaging. Overall, I would say the fit and finish here is a plus. Now let's jump over to Harvind and see what he thinks about the caseback and the movement inside.
The caseback features a combination of circular brushing, a bead blasted center, and a laser etched spec sheet. It's not the best looking caseback in the world, but I'll take this over a plain caseback any day of the week. Now, this watch comes with 2 movement options. You can choose between the NH35 or the PT5000 movement for about $30 more. I wanted to get this watch at the cheapest price possible, so I went with the tried and true NH35. The unit in mine was running at plus 9 seconds per day. That's not exactly bad, but I've had better accuracy with most of the other NH35 movements I had. Overall, nothing really wowed me in this category, so I'm going to give it a neutral score. Over to you, Eric.
Let's take a closer look at the face of the watch. First thing you notice right from the get-go is that I went for the blue version of this watch. It also comes in a more direct homage color option of a black bezel with either a black dial or a white dial. Now starting on the very outside, we have a 120-click unidirectional bezel that has 2 parts to it. The inner section, we have a steel with black hour numbers. And in the outer part, we have a blue section which may or may not be ceramic. There's no mention of it on the website, so I'm going to call it what I'm 100% sure it actually is. It's blue. Blue with white numbers indicating the 10-minute marks. Now, even though these numbers are small, the high contrast here with this white on blue keeps things legible. The coin edge is easy to grip and the action is very smooth. Everything aligns nicely. However, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. There is a small amount of backplay on the bezel, but what I'm far more concerned about is that the Lume pip actually sits below the metal cylinder that contains it. This means when you run your finger over it, you can definitely feel the edge of that metal container. You can also feel a distinct edge between the inner steel section of the bezel and the blue outer section, especially when you run your fingernail over it. It is not completely flush, and it's just a reminder that this is not a $1,300 watch. This is a $70 homage of a $1,300 watch. Moving on to the dial itself, this watch follows the basic design of the Serica. On the outside, we have a white minute track printed on a blue outer ring. However, unlike the Serica, which has a porcelain white dial, the dial here is more of a metallic white. So unfortunately, it doesn't have the same level of pop to it. Inside of that, we have loomed indices, which connect back to the minute track by use of a thin black line. The hands here are similar to the Serica, but not as broad. The arrowhead is actually quite a bit smaller and doesn't command the dial the way that the original does. Besides the aesthetics caused by the hands being thinner, this also means there's less space available for the loom. But we'll talk more about the loom later. The hour hand meets up nicely with the hour indices, but sadly, the minute hand stops a few millimeters short. Another small detail which sadly keeps this watch from living up to its full potential. At the 3 o'clock position, we have an unsigned oversized crown. It is 7.5 millimeters in width, and it is easy to grip, pull out, and turn. There is a nice tactile and audible pop between the different crown positions. Now there is a ghost state position, but that doesn't seem to bother the majority of people out there buying an affordable watch. Lastly, the thing to note here is that this watch is available with or without a logo. As far as the face of the watch, the bezel, the dial, the hands, I would mark this one down as being a negative. Now let's head over to Harvind and see how he rates the final category of this review, that being the loom, crystal, and strap.
Tandorio watches aren't exactly known for their loom. Actually, they kind of are known for their loom, because it's practically useless in most models. They've probably heard the complaints and switched up the loom formula on this model. There's quite a strong glow when the lights are out. There's a catch though. This only applies to the indices. The hands seem to have a different formula that's much weaker. There's barely any glow right from the start, and they practically fade away completely within 1 or 2 hours. Moving on to the crystal, it's a dome sapphire that's quite raised, and the shape looks incredible from the side. I love the way it looks, but that's where my love for it ends. Tandorio doesn't mention any AR coating on the crystal, and honestly, I don't know why I even bothered to check the spec list. The glare on this crystal is ridiculous. It reflects everything. It's not just the glare though. The crystal reflects light in a very weird way that's tough to get across on camera. It has a kind of double reflection effect. The strap that comes with the watch is a standard cheap silicone. It's quite comfortable, but it seems to magically attract dust and lint every time I look at it. I didn't really like that, so I put it on this sailcloth strap that I got from AliExpress. It looks better and it wears better, and I don't have to worry about it picking up more dust than my vacuum cleaner. In fairness, I could live with the silicone strap, but the mismatched loom and crystal glare were really disappointing. So overall, I'm going to give this category a minus.
Hey Harvind, what are your final thoughts about this watch?
Well, for me, I think it depends on your expectations. If you're looking for the absolute best Serica Homage, or if you're looking for a daily driver, this Tandorio is probably not going to be it. But if you just want a good looking watch and you don't want to spend $300 to get that look, I think it's going to be perfect for you. You're not going to get much refinement, but you're still getting a great looking watch for below $100. For context, I got this for $60 during the sale. At that price, I can't really complain about much, except that crystal glare. That's absolutely terrible.
I hear what you're saying, Harvind. You know, I think a lot of times we're hoping that a watch from AliExpress is going to punch way, way above its price range. In fact, I think that is the main lure. It's the carrot on the stick which AliExpress dangles out in front of us. You know, offering specs which seems to defy the very definition of what an affordable watch is. But sadly, that is where this watch falls down, at least in my opinion. Because this $70 watch does not punch above its weight class. This $70 watch feels, well, it feels like a $70 watch. Now our combined score here is 1.5 out of 4, and surprisingly that is a very, very different score from what we came up with in the other video. Now please hop on over to Harvind's channel, Wrist Watching, where you can watch the other video where we switch everything around and we review the parts that the other person did in this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And remember, buy whatever it is that you love. This is your watch collection. I'll see you next time.